we'll pretend that this is our floor. So underneath this is our, our floor joists holding this floor up. This is what's on top of it, and now you're taking, now it would never be this thin, I don't know if you can see how thin it is, but this is just something I can show you. So here would be your subfloor on top. Let's say there's an island or something here, and you're going around it. So all you need to do is take your, these are inch and 3/4 screws, flooring screws. There are particular flooring screws. Take your screw gun and just put them in. Now obviously I can't go in all the way because it would go into my tile, and I don't want to do that. But just go in so that the head, the top here, is at least flush with this. Now that rule, to make it easier, go underneath it. Then you're for sure not going to be above. Because if this head sticks up above this plywood, when you go to put down your mortar, your trowel is going to end up hitting it and making bumps, which will leave too much mortar everywhere and be very frustrating. You'll end up, denting your trowel, and it's just very frustrating. So make sure you make it what's called countersinking it in. Very easy. Just keep going until it goes underneath the wood, and then stop. You don't want to go too far, or else you go right through it, and then it doesn't do anything. Now, something else to mention: once this is down, make sure it's level. So if it's not, we talked about kind of a floor leveler, floor patch kind of deal. This is one of many different kinds. This comes in a bucket, and if you have a little dip somewhere, all you would do is just take some of this out and smooth it out so that you no longer have that dip. Most of them come in a mixable format, or in a bag, so you pour it in, put some water in, mix it up, and just work with it that way. Another good thing about plywood is you can know exactly what height you want. Sometimes you want to match up to, let's say another room has hardwood, and it's 3/4 inch higher than your other floor. If you want to bring your other floor up, then you know how high, because all you do is you take your plywood, and for an easier number, let's say 1 inch. So you take your 3/4 inch plywood, put it down, your tile is approximately 1/8, and then your mortar is 1/8. So in the end, they would both be exactly 1 inch high, and they would match up to each other. So that's a good way to go. If you need to buy an extra piece of plywood and put it on top, that's another way as well to get it a little higher if you need to. And same rule, just screw it down and you're ready to go. The rule for your dips and dives in your floor across the board is generally over a 10-foot span. You don't want to be any more than 1/4 inch. That might sound a little technical to you, and even to me sometimes. An easy way to do it is take your 8-foot level, or 8-foot straight edge, set it down, and if you have 1/4 inch, any 1/4 inch dives underneath, so if you measure and it drops below 1/4 inch, then you know you have to fix it. You have to fill it some way. So that's kind of the easy way to tell. You don't want to say, oh, you know what, it dips a bit, but I'll just fill it in with more mortar when I put the tile down. Doesn't work. It never does, because it'll end up sinking in, and then your tile will sink, or there won't be enough strength to it, because the mortar is only supposed to be so thick for a reason. Alright, so to cut the plywood, real simple, take your skill saw, and once again put on your safety equipment. Can't stress that enough. Put on your goggles and your earmuffs, protect both, and just mark out your wood and cut right through. Relatively simple. If you want to use a handsaw, you can. Difficult, but you can. And that's all there is to cutting your plywood. When you do your plywood and your backer board, which we'll get into, never have the seams, and we show this in the book really well, never have your seams, so if you were to have two pieces like this, never have it continue. So if you have another piece, I don't have enough plywood to show you, sorry about that, you would never lay the next piece like that. Because what happens is, if you have a seam that goes all the way up from one side to the other, guess where the cracks are going to form? Right on that seam. So make sure, if you do something like, if you have this kind of a pattern, take your next sheet and have it directly in the middle. So it'd be like that. And you always want to have 1/8 of an inch gap along everywhere. That 1/8 inch is quite important, because with wood, you obviously have expansion. expansion and contraction. So that 1/8 of an inch gives it some breathing space, some space to move. If you butt them together and there's any moisture at all, it'll just basically buckle on you, and then up pops your tile.